Music has been a part of our lives for ages. It's one thing that has been passed down and valued from generation to generation. And throughout the years, there have been quite a number of iconic moments in the industry's history. While it may be difficult to list them all one by one because that would take us forever, there are tangible and objective moments that have certainly changed the course of different genres and have affected music as we know it today. With that, turn up the beat and listen as we give you 10 of the most important moments in music history. Before moving to the list, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more awesome content and click on the notification bell so you know when we publish new videos. Let's start. Number 10. The Death of Tupac. Even if you're not a fan of hip-hop, you would probably have some idea who Tupac Shakur was. He was one of the biggest icons in the genre and in the music industry as a whole. Known for his meaningful songs that touch the contemporary social issues plaguing the inner cities, he has always been a symbol of activism against inequality. He also performed Shakespeare plays and wrote poetry in high school. But one of the biggest events of his life, and most likely the one he's remembered for, was when he was gunned down by a drive-by shooting in Las Vegas, Nevada in September 1996. He was immediately taken to the hospital but died a few days later from internal bleeding. Sadly, his murder case has not been officially solved. Had he still been alive today, he would have rap music that is on a whole nother level than what we have today. Number 9. Johnny Cash walks the line. If there's one thing that people know about Johnny Cash, it's that he was never one to play by the rules. And while this may cause problems for some, this very thing is what earned him the nickname The Man in Black. The public loved him and he would frequently visit and perform in prisons during the 50s. One of his best and most iconic moments was when he performed live at California San Quentin Prison, where he was able to command a crowd of unruly inmates and jive with their energy. He even got frustrated as the British crew kept on ordering him what to sing and where to stand on the stage. And so the outlaw singer had enough and rebelliously stuck out his middle finger to the camera when the crew was blocking his view of the audience. Johnny was definitely a wild gem of the music industry. Number 8. Bob Dylan unexpectedly went electric. One of the most important moments in rock history was Bob Dylan's concert at the Newport Folk Festival. He has been a frequent artist of the event since 1963 and was adored for his bard-like performance. He was even hailed as the spokesman of a generation because of this. However, the crowd was surprised and left speechless when Dylan decided to strap himself with an electric guitar for his performance at the festival in 1965. He rocked out for almost 20 minutes and was booed off the stage. There were reports that the booing was because of poor sound quality, but it was most likely because his fans didn't appreciate his recklessness and felt betrayed by it. Nonetheless, Dylan still thrived as a musician with the rock and roll vibe after that. Number 7. Jimi Hendrix performing the Star-Spangled Banner at Woodstock. One of the members of the 27 Club, Jimi Hendrix has captivated the world with his psychedelic tunes and his experimentation with electric guitar sounds. By 1969, he was the world's highest-paid rock musician and was invited to perform at Woodstock that year. Many of the 400,000 in attendance were particularly there just to catch a glimpse of Hendrix's performance. However, with the festival going off schedule, Hendrix was left with a mere 40,000-person audience when he finally stepped on stage. But that didn't stop him from performing a passionate and heartwarming rendition of the Star-Spangled Banner with an electric distortion that sounded like bombs and rockets. This performance showed Hendrix's admirable love for America as well as the counterculture rebellion of the time. Number 6. The Death of Kurt Cobain. The lead singer of Nirvana, another member of the 27 Club, Kurt Cobain was an icon of the grunge scene in Seattle, Washington. Expressing disruptive emotions and unbearable pain, Nirvana's music mesmerized the youth. But just as he was famous for his songs and his demeanor, he is also famous for the way he died. In April 1994, Cobain's body was found with a shotgun pointed at his chin and a suicide note. His body was found with high traces of heroin, and this led fans and conspiracy theorists to speculate that he was murdered, and that it was not an act of suicide. It's a shame that no one in this generation will experience his love for music and art. His passing was a major loss for the industry. Number 5. Beethoven premieres the Ninth Symphony. You cannot appreciate classical music if you have not listened to Beethoven. One of the most admired composers of classical music, Ludwig van Beethoven has produced many classical pieces that are beloved to many. One of his famous pieces was Symphony No. 9 in D minor, which premiered in Vienna in May 1824. This was the composer's first onstage appearance in 12 years, and during that time he suffered from hearing loss. The fully packed audience was anticipating the Theater am Kartner Tor. The orchestra he assembled included Vienna's elite musicians, and despite his disability, he was able to get 5 standing ovations from the audience, and the piece has been immortalized since. Number 4. Queen performs at Live Aid. Because of the successful Bohemian Rhapsody movie, today everyone's probably oddly familiar with the Queen's Live Aid performance on July 13, 1985. There, different famous bands supported relief efforts for Ethiopia through their voices. However, for the band that at the time had negative publicity circling around them, Queen stole the show with their out-of-this-world performance as Freddie Mercury took over the crowd. It was a bittersweet moment and probably Freddie's last groundbreaking event. It was a beautiful incorporation of love and harmony through music as he allowed the crowd to join in on his performance. From that day onward, Freddie's strong presence and flamboyance made him a beloved icon throughout the world. Number 3. Michael Jackson's first Moonwalk performance. In March 1983, on the TV special Motown 25, Yesterday, Today, Forever, Michael Jackson lit up the stage as he performed the Moonwalk for the first time. Rocking the smooth sweeps for just about 2 seconds was enough for him to stop the world for a moment and become an icon. Though he didn't exactly create the move, this significant movement has made it more popular than the original choreographers could have ever hoped for. Now, when you think of the Moonwalk, there's no other name than the King of Pop that comes to mind. Together with his signature flair and extravagant costume, this performance has blown the minds of many generations and has left a mark on pop culture. Number 2. Elvis Presley on Milton Berle's show. Anyone who has ever picked up a guitar has also probably tried to feel what it's like to be Elvis Presley and has imitated him at least once. And this gyrating legacy all started with his first performance on June 5, 1956 at the Milton Berle's show. While it was in fact not his first appearance on television and even on the same show, that very moment was what catapulted him onto the national scene. He was promoting his debut single, Heartbreak Hotel, when he took over the stage with his upbeat energy. Everyone was surprised as he started to grind his hips on the microphone in an otherwise suggestive manner, causing the crowd to go crazy. With his then famous signature dance moves, he became the voice of America's youth and was crowned as the king of rock and roll. While he was initially chastised by conservative parents and politicians, it didn't stop him from becoming a quivering mass of awesome and majorly dictating the future of different genres, especially rock and roll. Number 1. The Beatles on the Ed Sullivan Show. Who could ever forget one of the biggest moments in television history, the debut performance of the Beatles? On February 9, 1964, the Beatles performed on the Ed Sullivan Show. They cheerfully sang their most recent single, I Want to Hold Your Hand. With an estimated record of 73 million viewers on US television, they were able to jump from a humble British band to international superstars. There began Beatlemania, a deafening time wherein the fans screamed so loudly during their tours that no one could even hear the music. But more than just establishing their name, the performance has also significantly influenced the music industry in general. Their appearance marked the start of the musical phenomenon known as the British Invasion, sweeping the industry off its feet and completely changing pop music culture. That said, their influence on the music industry cannot be understated. No other band will ever do it like the Beatles. And there you have the 10 most important moments in music history. Do you agree with our list? Sound off in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. See you next time!